Hi, my name's William Schaeffer, and our book review today is of The Devil's Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose Bierce was a writer, commentator, satirist, and short story author from the later half of the 19th century of the 1800s. As a young boy, he fought in the Civil War. And then he moved to San Francisco, where he made his life as a writer on the paper. As a short story author, he is probably best known for the short story Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, which has been made into a fantastic short movie. During his career as a writer, in his newspaper column, he would occasionally write short, humorous, satirical definitions of words. And later in his life, these were collected into what's called the Devil's Dictionary. And even today, these are hilarious. Bierce is a master linguist. He's a master at crafting the language out of the grammar and the words. And this ability shines to the forefront in the Devil's Dictionary. In fact, in my opinion, he's such a good writer that his short stories suffer. He becomes so involved in crafting elegant sentences and elegant grammatical structure that you get distracted from the overall story. But the Devil's Dictionary is where this ability shines forth. And if you have not heard of it and you have not read it, I highly suggest that if you have a satirical and humorous outlook on the foibles of life, I highly suggest you read it. Now, Bierce was quite a character, and at the end of his life, in 1913, as a 71-year-old man, he rode off to join the Mexican Revolution and was never heard from again. You have to admire, in some sense, a character that is as headstrong as that, and it shows in his prose. So let's take a look at some of the definitions. I've marked some pages, but this is just a free-for-all. We're just going to have some fun. Of course, I start at the beginning. Childhood, the period of human life intermediate between the idiocy of infancy and the folly of youth. 2 removes from the sin of manhood, and 3 from the remorse of age. Christian, one who believes that the New Testament is a divinely inspired book, admirably suited to the spiritual needs of his neighbor. One who follows the teachings of Christ insofar as they are not inconsistent with a life of sin. Circus, a place where horses, ponies, and elephants are permitted to see men, women, and children acting the fool. Clergyman, a man who undertakes the management of our spiritual affairs as a method of bettering his temporal ones. Clock, a machine of great moral value to men, allaying his concern for the future by reminding him what a lot of time remains to him. And these go on, and he's got words for everything. Labor, one of the processes by which A acquires property for B. Language, the music with which we charm the serpents, guarding another's treasure. lawful, compatible with the will of a judge having jurisdiction. Laziness, unwarranted repose of manner in a person of low degree. Learning, the kind of ignorance distinguishing the studious. Lecturer, one with his hand in your pocket, his tongue in your ear, and his faith in your patience. Liar, a lawyer with a roving commission. Liberty, one of imagination's most precious possessions. And you can see why Ambrose Bierce received the epithet Bitter Bierce, because he is very bitter in his observations, but humorously accurate. And that's why 150 years later he's still good to read, because he talks about human nature, which hasn't changed at all. Pessimism, a philosophy forced upon the conviction of the observer by the disheartening prevalence of the optimist with his scarecrow hope and his unsightly smile. Philanthropist, a rich and usually bald old gentleman who has trained himself to grin while his conscience is picking his pocket. Philosophy, a route of many roads leading from nowhere to nothing. Phonograph, an irritating toy that restores life to dead noises. And it goes on and on. Piano, a parlor utensil for subduing the impenitent visitor. It is operated by depressing the keys of the machine and the spirits of the audience. Physician, one upon whom we set our hopes when ill and our dogs when well. Very funny. Patience, a minor form of despair disguised as virtue. Peace, in international affairs, a period of cheating between two periods of fighting. And I could go on, and you can read these definitions over and over, and it's a lot of fun, and it is enjoyable. Therefore, if you're interested in a fun, sarcastic, bitter, intelligent read that doesn't require a lot of commitment and results in a lot of humor, I highly recommend The Devil's Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce. Thank you, and leave your comments below.